This is devotional number 204, and today's date is March 9th, 2017. We are looking at a phrase in Jude 13. Actually, there are four phrases that we've been considering. The first one is raging waves of the sea, foaming out their own shame, wandering stars, to whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever. And we want to consider this one, wandering stars, which is actually comprised of two words. Wandering is the Greek Strong's number 4107, and stars is 792. They only appear together here in Jude 13, and so we have to consider them individually. Actually, the root word for wandering is Strong's number 4108. And this helps us a great deal because it's rendered four times as deceiver and once as seducing in 1 Timothy 4:1, which really helps our understanding of what God has in view with this term wandering. Now the Spirit speaketh expressly that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils. Two other verses also assist us, being translated as deceiver and deceivers in Matthew 27:63 and 2 Corinthians 6:8, respectively. Verse 63 of Matthew 27:62-64 describes Christ as a deceiver according to the Pharisees. Now the next day that followed the day of the preparation, the chief priests and Pharisees came together unto Pilate, saying, Sir, we remember that deceiver said, while he was yet alive, after 3 days I will rise again. Command therefore that the sepulchre be made sure until the third day, lest his disciples come by night and steal him away, and say unto the people, He is risen from the dead. So the last error shall be worse than the first. Following in the Master's footsteps, Paul, under divine inspiration, characterizes how genuine believers are viewed in opposite terms by the non-elect and by God Himself, which again supports what we have recently been learning with regard to believers being a demonstration or manifestation of the sufferings of Christ, since they are indeed the visible body of Christ on earth, since God completed His spiritual temple on May 21, 2011. By honor and dishonor, by evil report and good report, as deceivers and yet true. We also saw in verse 6, let me read that, and the angels which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, He hath reserved in everlasting chains under darkness unto the judgment of the great day. This is Jude 6. This same word reserved, Strong's number 5083, is placed here by God in connection with the false prophets that we've been examining. Additionally, we also saw the word of darkness in verse 6 is rendered the blackness here in verse. And this is Strong's number 2217. Let's consider the one remaining term, which is of darkness, which is the more common word, Greek word, that is translated as darkness. It's Strong's number 4655. It's always rendered as such. Darkness and surfaces 32 times in the New Testament, and spiritually it relates to death. We looked at it briefly when we were going over 2 Peter 2:17, which also is a reference to false teachers. These are wells without water, clouds that are carried with a tempest, to whom the mist of darkness is reserved forever. So of darkness here is this Strong's number, the more common word for darkness, 4655. Now we also want to look at some other citations which illustrate some of the nuances that God has concentrated, we could say, in this term. Let's look today at, and this will be our last verse, verse 23 of Matthew 6:22 to 24. Here, this word darkness appears in connection with spiritual eyesight or spiritual understanding. And it's translated as be darkness, which God associates with evil. It is also contrasted with spiritual light or understanding, and hence spiritual life. The light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. But if thine eye be evil, thy whole body shall be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in thee be darkness, how great is that darkness? No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and mammon. Lord willing, tomorrow we will conclude this series and we'll look at some other passages that have to do with this word darkness.